When it comes to working with your formulas to whatever level you're at, the one thing that you need to know how to do is copy. And the reason for that is the copy command, whether you're just doing a regular copy and a paste, or if you're using the fill command, whatever it happens to be, the whole idea is that it saves you a ton of time. I mean, for instance, if you had something like this where you'd put a formula in here at the bottom, let's say this one right here, and even though we haven't really talked about this yet, it's a sum function, it's a pretty easy function. This formula deals with just that particular column, so it's adding up, January. So what we need to do is get it so where we can copy that. Let's say we'll just go a little bit across here, but copy it to a certain point. And what happens is when you go to copy this formula from, let's say, from B to C here, it knows to change the column from being B3 through B7 that we're adding up to now C3 through C7 and D3 through D7 and so forth, right? So it has a habit of changing. You might not want that to do it all the time, and you'll learn later on how to make certain parts not change, when you're copying. But the point of the matter is that if you don't understand how to copy, then you're going to end up wasting a lot of time, because you'd end up having to type in that formula, then put in that one, put in that one, put in that one, and so forth. That's crazy. You're better to copy it. So let me just show you a few different techniques here between these two sheets and give you some good ideas as far as copying. I know probably as you're watching, as you're going, I think I know how to copy. Well, I'm sure you probably do, but there might be a few little things that you don't know, and this will help you. So one of the most basic ways of maybe taking this formula here and copying it over to, let's say, this cell here, would be to put that formula in. You go back to the cell, you right-click it, you hit copy, just like that. Go to this cell here, right-click it, and just hit that first paste picture, and there it goes right in there. All right. If you notice, you'll see that we've got these little ants kind of running around here. Anytime that you do a copy or a cut, you'll get those ants running around. It's letting you know that that is still in memory, right, in the computer's memory. So if I go to here and right-click it, I can hit paste as well. I can also just select, let's say in this case, maybe the 3 cells here, right-click it, and hit paste, and do the same thing. And then at some point when I'm done copying and those ants are bugging you, they'll eventually go away, but if you just don't want to see it anymore, you can just hit the escape key, and they go away. Now another way we could have done that, let me just go back and I'm going to delete, I'm going to select that range and just delete it. The other way that you can do it is you can actually go to the original cell that has the formula, go to the bottom right-hand corner of that cell, and you'll get like a little black plus. Now, you don't want to get that confused with the black crosshair, because that's going to be used to move things around. In other words, if you take that and kind of drag it like that, you're actually moving that content and all that, and as well as the formatting. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is bottom right-hand corner, get that little black plus, hold down your mouse. Now that whole black plus deal is what we call the fill handle. Right? So we point to that, hold it down, and then we go ahead and just drag it across like this until we get to June, in this case, let go, and it takes care of it. Now, let me just point something out. Let me just redo this. A lot of people, what happens is they'll enter in the formula, and when they do that, they move down like that, and then they say, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and they say, well, I can't get that fill handle. Well, that's because you're not on the cell. You need to go back to the cell, like that. See, go to the bottom right-hand corner and just drag it like that and let go. Works perfect. Okay, so that's your first idea of how to do copying and so forth. Now, let's say for this one here, this is adding up, this formula is adding up all of Chip's 6 months worth of sales. That's what you see up here, okay? Now, if you go back to that cell, go to the bottom right-hand corner, you can actually just take your mouse and just kind of drag it like this down to here. Now, what happens when you do that, all right, we're going to go all the way from where it has the non-shaded formatting all the way down to where we've got some bordering and some shading in there. Now, when you do that and let go, everything comes out just fine. But what happens, though, is the formatting of this was also copied and therefore wiped out what this had, which was more of a shade and a top and bottom border there. All right? So we completely wiped that out. How do you fix that? Well, it just so happens, a lot of you probably, if you've done this before, you've noticed this, you get this little smart tag popping up. A lot of times it just gets in your way, but it does have a good purpose here. If you point to it and click onto it, one of the choices is fill without formatting, which means that it will redo the filled copy, but it will not bring along the formatting. It'll just bring along the formula and, update that. So by hitting fill without formatting, it does just that. So you click it, and voila, there it goes. Works out perfect. All right. The other thing we've got here now, I just noticed here too, we've got the goal here, the goal dollars that we're hoping that each of these reps will achieve here. Now, that formula that we have there would be similar, or that we need there, I should say, is similar to this one over here, right? Any of these, right? So why not maybe we can just click on any one of these, click on it there, right? You can go ahead and do a right click and hit copy, right? Go back over here, click onto there, right click it, and paste that in, and do that. That works out pretty nice. Now, that's not, I'm not saying that that's the best way of doing it. You'd probably be better off putting in the summation, auto sum formula in there, and it would have done the same thing. But the whole purpose of this exercise is to kind of show you how you copy. Now, what happened when I did that, this little green wedgie came up, and it's sitting there saying, well, it's telling me something. I don't know what it's telling me yet, but it's trying to tell me that it thinks that there's something wrong. All right, so if I click onto that, all right, you'll notice how this little yellow tag comes out, the little smart tag here. When you click it, it says there's an inconsistent formula. In other words, the formula that we have here is adding up the column. The formula we have here is not adding up the column. It's not summing it, I should say. Let me back up here. Like here, I'm using a sum function, all right, to add up this column, all right? But over here, I'm not. So it's sitting there saying, well, hey, it's an inconsistent formula. You might have done something wrong. In my opinion, I didn't do anything wrong. It's just fine. It's calculating just fine. So in my mind, everything is A-okay. So I want to get rid of that green wedgie. So what we're going to do is we're going to click onto that button, and we're going to tell it that we don't want it to bother us anymore, so just ignore the error. And that goes away. So that's pretty good. I'm going to hit my escape key to get rid of that little ant colony over here. All right. Okay, so there we go on that one. Now, the next thing we have here is the variance calculation for Chip. We're going to be talking about this worksheet later on another video. We're actually going to be putting in the formulas in and so forth, and you're going to learn why we do what we do. But right now we're just talking about copying. So in this one here, again, I want to take that formula that's in essence doing what it's doing and copy that all the way down to here. let go, and then I'm just going to go to my little smart tag and tell it without formatting. That takes care of that. Okay. The cost of goods, that's just going to be a simple calculation. Now, I'll just kind of throw this in for you. If I want to add up this column, what I can do is I can just click onto here, right? And then click onto my auto sum, which is this button right here. This is in the home tab, all right? I can just click onto that, and it says it's going to add up that column. And it's going to put it here. It shows you the calculation there. I'll enter that in. Oop. Oh, I hit the delete key. That was good. Let me do that again. All right. So we'll hit the auto sum. All right. Hit the enter key. There we go. All right. And then again, you're going to get that same, little wedgie coming up over on the side there, letting you know that you've got inconsistent formulas again. And it's like, well, you know what? Again, leave me alone. All right. Okay. Now the bonus, again, we also have profit, and we also have this here. So we got all three of these things to do. Now, instead of having to do each one of them separately, what we can also do is just select the three of them, just like that. Bottom right-hand corner, drag it all the way down, let go, hit the smart tag, fill without formatting, and it returns my formatting. So that looks pretty good. Nice little deal there. Now, we have another one here. Let's look at the year's sales here. Okay, so you're going to take it to the next level with this copying. What you're looking at here is a database of different sales transactions. All right, not a lot of them, but a few of them here. And I'm going to just kind of start in just a kind of a random area here. We're going to start maybe with this one right here. So part of what's happening here is that the totals, okay, for taking, let's say, we sold, let's say, 2,170 of this Kanbu product here. It runs 823 as a cost to the customer, and this is the extended here. So what I want to do is take that formula that's multiplying the two together. I'm going to copy that down. Okay. Now, we could go back to the cell like we are, bottom right-hand corner right here, and drag and drag and drag all the way down. The easier way is to point to the bottom right-hand corner, get that fill handle, but instead of dragging it, we just double-click it. And that will copy it all the way down to the bottom. We don't have that many, but it went down, down to row 70 there. It goes down as far as there's something next to it. All right. Same thing here. The cost, all right, the cost of goods. In other words, we sold that many, right? The cost to us is $2.96. What is then the total, cost of goods for that particular transaction? Bottom right-hand corner, double-click it. We could have also, let me just hit undo here. We could have also, because we also have the margin next to it that's figuring out our profit, we can actually just select both of them, all right? Point to here, double-click it. It goes all the way down. Pretty nice. Nice little tool there. All right. Now, let's go back to our dates here. Now, it just so turns out, all right, that this was like our first transaction, and these actually turned out to be transactions that we did on a, let's just say on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, right? So the first one here was September 30th, 2025. Now, what we want to do is we want to copy this date all the way down, and when we copy the date as a single date, it will increase it by 1 day for each one it's copied to. To each cell it's being copied to, it increases by 1 day. And it just so happens to be that is what this really is. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of point right here. All right. And we can actually just either drag it, or, just like we did in the beginning, or what we just last did, we can just do a double click. And there we go. And as you can see here, we get September 30th, and it goes to October 1st and 2nd. Now, let me hit undo here. On the other hand, let's just say that these were weekly sales, okay? So this happened the first week, week 2, week 3, week 4. All right. Now, if it's a weekly kind of thing, then this would be October 7th, right? So if we go here, all right, and we type in, let's say, 1/7/25 or 2025, either one, we'll get that, all right? Oh, I did the wrong one there, sorry. 9/30/, no, I'm doing it, no, not 9/30. 10/7/25. There we go. Okay, we got it finally. Now, I want this to go in increments of week, okay? So weekly increments. So what you do in this situation is we select the 2. Bottom right-hand corner, either drag it or double-click it and get weeklies now, all right? I mean, this might not be that realistic. I'm just using this as an example, or as an excuse, really, to be able to show you this type of thing, all right? Now, the other thing that a lot of people like to do when they bring in their sales data like this, they might want to create a sort order. In other words, if later on they go back in here and they sort the data by a certain item, certain field here, all this data gets rearranged, how do they get it back to the original order if technically the original order was no order at all? Let's just say that maybe in this case it is kind of ordered by the date here, but let's just say you didn't have the date in there and it was something else. Or maybe the dates were all out of order and that's how you want it to go back to originally. How would you do that? Well, what you would do initially before you started sorting would be to create some sort of a kind of an ongoing list of numbering. So we might have it go from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. Now, if you were just to do, let me just start this out by, if you just were to start with like the number 1 and say, well, just like with the dates, if I maybe were to drag it, I'll get 2, 3, and 4. Well, no, you won't. When it comes to an actual value, just a number, you'll just get a repeat of the number. So what you do instead is you put your next number in sequence, all right? And that would be number 2. And then what you do is you take the both of them, and then you can go ahead and copy that down. Oop, didn't go far enough. Copy that all the way down, and there you go. And that's how that works. So hopefully some of these techniques I just got done showing you here will help you in your everyday use of this program, because copying is done all the time in this program. All right, so hopefully you liked the video, and take care.